YouTube? Welcome to Coop Scoops today. I'm Coop, and guess what? I've got the scoop. So today we're going to be talking about recent comments made by Pete Davidson on SNL. And it brought this question to my mind. Why do comedians feel like they can be so insensitive about things because they hide behind this notion that laughter is all healing? And so they think that lets them get away with things. Pete Davidson was on SNL and he was giving his first impressions of congressional members running for the 2018 midterm elections. And then came time for Dan Crenshaw, a congressional candidate from the 2nd District in Texas, where he said that because of his eye patch, he looked like a hitman in a porno, and that was just kind of whatever. Well, Pete, that's not just whatever. You are talking about an ex-Navy SEAL who fought for our country, went overseas to Afghanistan, and lost his eye to an IED blast. And not only that, but when he got the eye patch, he went back overseas for 2 more tours which he served. And this shouldn't be news to Pete because his own father was killed in 9/11 as a fireman, as a hero of our country. And so Pete should realize there are things like this in which you just cannot joke about. But I think the big issue here is that comedians feel as though they have this get-out-of-jail-free card because their job is to make people laugh, and that they can do that by any means necessary. But this is becoming a problem, not just on shows like SNL, but many different mediums, whether it be social media, news, or even just the dinner table at Thanksgiving. And so I'm going to talk about 3 things today. The first being, there are certain topics you can't joke about. Second, what making those certain topics into jokes does to society. And third, what you should do if one of these jokes is made when you're around them. Okay? And so I'm going to start with the first point, and that being, there are some jokes as a human being you cannot make jokes about. I don't care what your job is. Okay? If you are making fun of the way someone looks, that's just not okay. And especially when you're on national television and you're talking about someone with a disability. People in general should never make jokes about someone's disability if it's just for some laughs. Like, that's not okay. And, you know, this joking or bullying is becoming more and more frequent given the rise of electronic bullying entering national awareness as a serious and prevalent phenomenon. And that comes from Yvonne Asher in her piece, Comparing Electronic and Traditional Bullying in Embarrassment and Exclusion Scenarios. It's a mouthful, but people feel safe and empowered by being behind the screen, as Asher mentions in the piece. And it's because of that sense of power that the offender feels that it is leading to such an increase in the pervasiveness of this problem. So what are the effects of this joke having on society? Well, there was a recent study done in a Seattle school, a secondary school, and, you know, a lot of times people will say they were only joking, right? And so, they used a racial slur against society. They were only joking. They were catcalling some girls, degrading them. But you know what? They were only joking. They kept making comments with gay harassment undertones. But hey, they were only joking. Well, that kind of joking was taken too far at this particular school. And members from the Gay Straight Alliance took notice. In their study, they found that in 1 week, 70 students had been joked about for their sexual orientation, and 52 had been made fun of for the way they looked. And every time one of these comments are made, I don't care who you are or who's the one who's making the joke, they hurt, right? They take a toll on the way someone feels, and no one likes to be talked about in that way. I don't care if people think that the joking manner can make it funny so other people can feel better about themselves. Never is it okay. And you know what? The next question becomes, what should we do if we were the aggressor and made the joke? Or what do we do if we're witnessing this going on as a bystander? Well, I'm going to start with the aggressor, okay? If you are someone who has made this joke about anything about the way another person lives their life, whether they can control it or not, the first thing you have to do is realize you've done that, and then you have to apologize to that person. The fact of the matter is, you don't deserve their forgiveness for saying something like this, but they deserve your apology, and it's up to you to go to that person and try and make things right, okay? But don't always expect them to forgive you for that. Okay, the second thing I want to deal with is the bystander, okay? There's this thing called the bystander effect, and basically it's found that when you are in a group of people and you see something bad going on, you're more likely to not do anything about it at all, okay? So everyone who doesn't want to call out Pete Davidson for making these comments, it's because so many people have seen it and they think it's okay and other people are laughing about it, but it's not. Recently, I'm sorry. There was this study done, and they found that people in online spaces, if they are just viewing something going on immediately on social media, if you are the first person to step in and say something, it is much easier to do it and then stop it. But if you've let people kind of make comments already and it's kind of out there and people are become more comfortable with it, then it's harder for you to say something. And so if you see something like this happen, there's a couple steps you need to take to prevent it. Number one, first of all, you need to be calm. You can't be aggressive yourself or mean in any way. You have to be calm. You should address the person by their name and then address what they are doing in this particular offense that they are taking in that space. Once you have done all that, you should let them know why that's wrong and that they should stop doing it. And once you do that, you just get out. Don't continue to argue with the person or take their comments back at you seriously. Just say what you need to say, get out, especially if you're online. But if you're in person, when you're getting out, also take the person who's the victim with you and get out of there. Okay? And so after all of this, so where do we go, right? All's well that ends well? Not exactly. Pete Davidson is lucky because Dan Crenshaw actually had mercy on him. I mean, there were politicians calling for the ending of the show, the firing of Pete Davidson, the firing of Lorne Michaels, but Dan Crenshaw was nice enough to come on the show the next week, and then he was able to roast Pete Davidson himself over the thing. And it kind of made amends between the two. However, afterwards, they together both addressed that it is never okay for you to make jokes about the way someone looks. Pete apologized, much like you should do if you've ever done something like this. And so I'll leave you with this one thought. Who in your life have you made jokes about where you know in deep down in your heart it was wrong and you need to go ask for forgiveness from? And then I would encourage you to, after this video, go out and ask for forgiveness from those people, you know? I mean, Ariana Grande obviously ended things with Pete Davidson. That's kind of the point of my intro song, Thank You, Next. And so once you've asked for forgiveness from that person, I would encourage you to say thank you if they forgive you. And then go to the next person, because I'm sure there's more than one person who you need forgiveness from. And so thank you for listening. If you like, hit the like right here. If you want to subscribe, please subscribe there. Thank you all so much, and I'm going to leave to my song. All right?